The original melanated people of this planet, who were once the perfect picture of health, are now leading in nearly every preventable disease globally. Our indigenous foods and cultural practices kept us 95% disease-free. Over time, as we adopted a foreign dietary lifestyle, our physical and mental health severely declined. I gathered over 15 years of experience as a registered nurse and African holistic practitioner to address this complex challenge in my new book, High Vibration Nutrition. This is a simple guide to healing through our culture and flourishing in wellness once again. Get the High Vibration Nutrition book by Banasset Kind Seknet at Amazon. Also, get limited edition autographed copies of the book at kemeticwellness.com. Peace, Chem family. It's me, Banasset, your African holistic health nurse for Kemetic Wellness, and I'm back with another video. In this video, I am continuing my series on the spiritual causes of diseases. And in this particular video, we're talking about the spiritual causes of skin disease. If you're new here, again, my name is Banasset. I'm a licensed registered nurse and energy healer. I focus on generational healing through African holistic health because your healing is in your culture. Here at Kemetic Wellness, we heal ourselves using language, energy medicine, nutrition, and sacred movement. So if any of that resonates with you, please keep watching. So today we are focusing on the energy blockages that are common in people experiencing skin conditions of all kinds. I was inspired to talk about this topic because I received a few different emails and comments from people asking me about psoriasis, and also one email that I really appreciated. Thank you to that brother who sent me that email, letting me know that my video on CARP was very helpful to you. So I did this video about CARP, which stands for confluent and reticulated papillomatosis. I did this video about 4 years ago on this channel, and I did it because that was a condition that I suffered from the ages of about 11 through 27. It's a so-called incurable skin condition that I cured myself of. I healed myself, no medications, no procedures, just a natural lifestyle. So I know what I'm talking about, and I know what it is to deal with an insufferable skin condition. And I know all of the underlying things that lead to it as well. So the most obvious causes of skin problems are related to your diet and environment, and that's important. You do have to take care of those things as well, particularly your hygiene in your home environment. However, as with all physical conditions, there are energetic imbalances that cause or contribute to your physical problem. So, what does the skin represent in the spiritual realm? Okay. What are the metaphysical aspects of the skin? Let's talk about it. The skin is related to a person's self-image. It represents your individuality. It represents your sensitivity and your feeling. The skin is also an organ of elimination. So when the body does not eliminate through urine and defecation, a lot of times it will come out through the skin. So the skin eliminates through perspiration. It's also a very breathable organ. Okay, so a lot of skin issues, chronic skin problems, are related to problems with elimination, meaning letting go, letting things go. Skin problems can also indicate anger, either against yourself or against someone else. It can indicate fear, anxiety, restlessness, lack of fulfillment, or feeling irritated by something or someone, hence the irritation on the skin. So pimples and boils, for example, can represent anger that's boiling up from inside, that's coming out on the skin. So it's unexpressed emotions that's surfacing. It can also represent anxiety with someone else, so the outside world, or within yourself. So let's talk about the spiritual causes of disease. First one is suppressed emotions. Suppressed emotions. Repressed shame, guilt, anger, resentment, or grief. All of these can manifest on the skin as rashes, eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, okay? Any of these conditions. So I remember growing up that I had a cousin who had a lot of emotional issues, and rightfully so, she had emotional issues. She had a lot of turmoil growing up in her life. She dealt with a tremendous amount of physical abuse, emotional abuse, violations against her body at an early age. She dealt with abandonment from both of her parents. And this little girl was under so much stress, so much stress. From a very, very early age, at age 9, she started to have these really bad acne breakouts, terrible, big bumps all over her skin, all over her face, her chest, her back. And she had a lot of scarring, so she had those dark marks as well. Nobody else in my family had that, and it's also very uncommon for a child at just age 9 to be dealing with such terrible acne. So I always knew, and other family members also knew, that this was stress that was breaking her out, that was coming out on her skin, and it was related to the amount of trauma that she experienced at such an early age that she did not know how to deal with. So suppressed emotions, this is one of the spiritual causes of skin disease. Okay. The second one is a lack of boundaries. Lack of boundaries. So your skin is a barrier. Okay? Your skin is a barrier. It is a physical boundary between yourself and the outside world. When you have issues like acne, dermatitis, hives, okay, it can indicate difficulty with setting emotional or energetic boundaries. So you're having an issue with your physical boundary because you have an issue with energetic boundaries. Okay, so this is for the people pleasers out there. Poor skin equals poor boundaries. Okay. Your skin is the boundary between your internal organs and the outside world. So when that boundary becomes chronically compromised, sometimes it's a spiritual sign that you need to develop better boundaries. So for example, if you are dealing with a toxic family member, whether it's a parent or a sibling or extended family, and this person is controlling, manipulative, abusive, violent, and you are enabling that behavior through your own inability to advocate for yourself, it may begin to show up on your skin. Okay. Also, a lot of times when people have problems with communicating their own boundaries to other people, they also misstep and overstep other people's boundaries. So that's another thing to be cognizant of. If you're a highly sensitive person, you're easily overwhelmed, or you suppress emotions like grief, resentment, it can be your body's way of communicating to you energetically that you need to develop better boundaries. Okay, so this is one of the spiritual causes of skin disease. Number 3, self-worth and self-identity issues. Okay. So your skin is the first thing that people see when they look at you, right? So in the spiritual realm, the skin represents how we present ourselves to the outside world, how we show up in the world. When you have conditions like vitiligo, eczema, carp, psoriasis, or even acne, terrible acne, it can reflect struggles with your self-image and also with self-acceptance. So you may be overly concerned with your outer appearance, meaning how other people view you, but lacking the self-reflection of who you are, your inner self. Okay? So these type of conditions can also indicate deep-seated stress or self-criticism. So if you're constantly speaking negatively to yourself, negative self-talk, or if you have feelings of rejection, either you feel rejected by other people or you are rejecting yourself, these are spiritual causes of skin disease. Okay? Self-worth and identity issues. Number 4 is toxic energy buildup. Okay. So exposure to negative people or environments or thoughts, your inner world, can lead to skin breakouts. You can have problems with itching or irritation, which is your body's way of trying to purge energetic toxins. Okay. Even things like hives. Okay. It's your body's way of trying to purge energetic toxins. So the toxic environment can be physically toxic or energetically toxic. So a physically toxic environment would be one that's dirty, it's filthy, it's cluttered. So this can happen a lot in homes that are not kept up well or where there's hoarding. Okay. All of that dust and dirt attracts roaches, rats, dust mites, and other little nasty critters that cause allergies and skin irritation. Okay. The toxic environment can also be energetically toxic. So if you're constantly exposed to environments and relationships that are mentally draining and emotionally draining, it can result in these irritations on the skin, burning sensations, rashes, itching. Okay. Again, I have personally experienced this. So a while back, I had moved in with someone who I was in a relationship with. It was the worst decision of my life. It was the worst decision I've ever made. 0 stars, don't recommend. Okay. I'll never do it again. But needless to say, the relationship did not work out and I needed to get out of there. Right. So I've been telling a friend about what I was going through, and she was like, girl, you can move in with me, you can come stay with me, you can just work, get your money up, you don't have to owe me anything, you don't have to give me any money, just save your money, stack your money, get your own place and go. Okay. She told me, just take care of your food, take care of your toiletries, and then get on your feet and go. Now, I was very hesitant to do this because I don't like staying with people, right? And I know how people can get also, but I was desperate. I needed to get out of that place. I needed to get out of there. I didn't have the money at the time. So I took her up on the offer. Now, when I get there, let me just tell you, I'm a quiet person, very, very quiet person. I'm a very clean person. I'm a very unproblematic person. Okay. It would be like you don't even know I'm there. Started out Started out in the first week where she sat me down and started talking about a lease and what I would have to pay. And I'm like, girl, this not what you said in my mind, but I'm just listening. I'm listening to what she's saying. Then she starts telling me how she don't want nobody in her house. Like, you invited me here. You invited me to be here, right? So that's week one, where she starts telling me how she don't want nobody in her house and how she wanted me to do things this way, so on and so forth. Now, I do everything that the girl asked me to do. I do everything she asked me. Keep the place clean, pay for my own stuff. I don't ask for anything. Just come and go, do what I have to do to get myself together. But every week she wanted to sit down and complain to me about something. If she asked me to do things this way and I did it that way, she would complain about me doing it this way. Then I would switch and do it the way she asked me. Then she would complain about me doing it that way. So she was really tying my head up. Then on top of that, there was insults, there was rude behavior, there was throwing things in my face that I said to her. So the environment was very, very difficult to stay in. But beggars can't be choosers. So I just literally had to suck it up. It came to a head at one point where the girl told me that she just wanted me to leave. She had really kind of been baiting me to respond to a lot of her complaints, which I didn't want to do. I didn't even want to have these conversations. And so I did. I responded to her, and she was upset about my response. She was upset about it. So she told me to leave. She wanted me to leave. Now I'm panicking at the moment. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to end up having to be out on the street. I'm in a new city. I'm in a new place, and I have nowhere else to go. And I'm like, why is she doing this to me? My mind was racing. I was panicking. And I had nowhere else to go. So what I did was I sucked it up. I pretty much swallowed my pride and talked to her in a way that I said whatever I had to say to convince her to let me stay there. I knew in that moment, I was like, okay, just work. Just work. Get yourself out of there quickly and just leave this person alone. So she let me stay, and I worked for those few weeks. It took me less than 2 weeks from that conversation. And I was supposed to stay for about 13 weeks. I ended up leaving in 7. As soon as I got my first check, I scheduled it. As soon as I got my first check, that I'll be able to pay for my new place, and I was out of there. Needless to say, never dealt with that person again. Because when I got to the new place, right? Beautiful new place, nice neighborhood, clean place. I started breaking out. I was itching from head to toe. Taking Benadryl, taking all type of stuff to try to calm the itching. Nothing would calm it down. I was suffering a good 3 weeks. I had an appointment with the doctor around that time, and I asked like what was going on, and the doctor said, you know what, it's probably just because of the move. And that was when it clicked to me. The doctor didn't know all those other things that happened at the time, that stress that I had on me. And I think once I got in a space where I could relax, everything came to a head. I just broke out. I broke out bad. And I thought it was a carpet. I thought it was something in the environment. I called the landlord. I'm like, is this some old carpet y'all gave me? Does a carpet need to be cleaned? Nope, they showed me proof it was brand new carpet. So it was none of that. I was breaking out because I had a tremendous amount of stress. My whole root chakra was, just out of whack from bad relationship, moving from one place to another, then worrying about if I was going to have a place to stay. So all of that started to come out on my skin. I know firsthand that being in a toxic environment can come out on your skin. Okay. So All I did was rested for 3 weeks, and the problem ended up going away. I rested. I also went to therapy, and the problem ended up going away. So these are spiritual causes of skin disease. Okay, toxic energy buildup. All right. Number 5, fear of being seen. Fear of being seen. So again, your skin represents how you show up in the world. When you have a fear of being seen, you can have a lot of issues with social anxiety, with shyness, okay? Trying to hide yourself from the world. So your skin problems can indicate a subconscious desire to hide from the world. You may be attempting to avoid attention on you because you are deeply insecure. You have some insecurities about yourself, or because of past trauma. Maybe you're trying to protect yourself in some kind of way. So you develop skin issues because you are literally uncomfortable in your own skin. Okay. So again, this is something that's happening on a mental and an emotional level, not just a physical level. When it's not addressed, these feelings of discomfort in your own skin can become overwhelming, and you may begin to develop physical skin breakouts. So this can appear as hives. It can appear as blushing. So I know you've seen sometimes people who become very, very uncomfortable and they develop redness in the face. Okay. It can appear as itching or fidgeting. Okay. So inside, you're dealing with a certain amount of restlessness because you want to escape a situation because of your own fear of being seen. You may also be suppressing your own creativity and your self-expression. So when we are not expressing our innermost self, our authentic self, we can have breakouts on our outer shell, our outermost expression. It can react with inflammation or breakouts. These are spiritual causes of skin disease. Number 6, energetic sensitivity and overwhelm. So this is for the empaths out there. People who are empathic or highly sensitive can develop skin irritations as a response to absorbing too much energy. Okay. Your skin is your protective barrier to the outside world. When you are very sensitive or overwhelmed with the environment that you're in, you can have skin irritations or skin reactions like hives, again, that flushing or redness of the skin, rosacea, itching. Okay. This happens because of an internal nervousness sometimes as well. So you have a lot of nerve endings on your skin. You have countless nerve endings. And when your nervous system is very sensitive or overwhelmed or overloaded, this can come out on your skin. Okay. This is another thing that I know from experience. Okay. Okay. This can also be an intuitive response. If you come into contact with a person or an environment that basically gives you the heebie-jeebies, okay, it's something or someone that makes you feel very unsafe. So this can feel like your skin is crawling, literally. It can feel like the hair on your skin that's standing up, okay. This is your intuition giving you a warning that this person or this place is not safe for you and that you need to avoid it. Okay. If you're around places or people that make you feel this uncomfortable for extended periods of time, you can develop chronic skin conditions. Okay. This will happen until you remove yourself from that environment. It's your body's way of warning you because either you were unaware or you weren't paying attention to the signs that this person or this situation is not right for you. Okay? And they persist until you actually remove yourself from that space. These are spiritual signs of skin disease. Another sign is, or another cause of skin disease, ancestral markings. This is number 7. So sometimes we will inherit skin markings such as moles, birthmarks, red or brown patches on the skin, or patches of light or dark skin, or patches of hair, or unusual skin patterns. Sometimes there are even skin disorders that are inherited, and a lot of times those represent traumatic things that have happened in the family, okay? Traumatic issues, particularly if these skin issues run in families. It can be a sign that there's some unresolved trauma in the family, okay? Some skin markings, ancestral skin markings, can represent past life connections. It can represent inherited spiritual gifts, so it's not always a negative thing, okay? If it is a chronic skin condition like chronic rashes, eczema, psoriasis, it can indicate some type of suffering in that bloodline, and that coming out on your skin is your body's way of telling you that there's a purging that needs to happen in your bloodline, okay? So there's some unresolved grief. When there are certain pigmentation disorders that are generational, it can symbolize a transformation, a deep transformation in the bloodline, or somewhat of a rebirth in that lineage as well. It could also be a sign that you need to reconnect with your identity, especially if there's been any type of generational displacement. Okay. When you have things like burns or unexplained scars or skin sensitivity, sometimes it's linked to genetic memory from forced oppression or labor. Okay. Now, certain birthmarks, as I said, they're not necessarily skin disease, but I still wanted to mention it. Certain birthmarks link you to particular ancestors. These may be ancestors who can be your spirit guides, one of your spirit guides, or you have a special connection with them because you've inherited their gifts or their personality traits or characteristics. And a lot of times those characteristics that you inherit from that particular family member can assist you in your purpose in this lifetime. Okay? So these are the spiritual causes of skin issues or ancestral markings. Okay. So now let's talk about the solutions. Let's talk about solutions. So the solution for suppressed emotions is emotional release. Okay. If you do not learn positive ways to release emotions, your body is going to attempt to do it for you. And that's what these skin breakouts can mean. Okay. So first, you want to assess why you are suppressing your emotions in the first place. Why are you holding them in? Are you in an environment where it's not safe to express your emotions? That's a major reason why you would be holding them in the first place. Either you're in a toxic household or a toxic relationship or a toxic work environment. Okay? Think about if you are being forced to hold in your emotions because when you express yourself, you are being gaslit. Maybe you're being belittled or dismissed or ostracized because of expressing how you feel about particular things. These are all signs of emotional abuse. Okay, so your first step in healing after realizing that you were being forced to hold in your emotions is to remove yourself from that person or environment that is forcing you to hold in your emotions. You have to remove yourself. Okay, you have to learn and practice healthy forms of emotional release. Okay, so one of my favorites, and one of the most effective forms is journaling. Journaling. You can do different types of release rituals that are similar to journaling, or start out with journaling. So one that I like to do is you can write out your negative feelings on paper. Say it however you need to say it. If you need to cuss somebody out, if you're angry, if you're yelling, if you need to read somebody from head to toe, it doesn't matter. Say whatever you need to say. Do not hold back. Write it all out on paper. You can scream, you can cry, you can laugh, you can do whatever you need to do. Read that thing out and then stomp on it. Take the paper, put it on the floor, and stomp on it. Cuss it out. Say whatever needs to be said, okay? Then rip it up. When you rip it up, make sure none of the pieces of paper get away from you. You can either burn it or you can flush it down the toilet. Okay? So this is a simple release ritual. There are others that you can do as well. So you may want to learn about different release rituals. You can practice shadow work. Go to therapy. Okay? Just talking and getting it out of you will help you to release suppressed emotions. So talk with a counselor. Get yourself an EFT therapist that you trust. So EFT is another form of therapy. It's called emotional freedom technique. I've used it myself and it's excellent. Kemetic Reiki is another form of emotional release. So if you would like to book a Kemetic Reiki session with me, you can do so at kemeticwellness.com. Okay. Also, I give tons of solutions on emotional release in the High Vibration Nutrition book. If you want to get it, it's available for you at kemeticwellness.com as well. So you have to learn how to release suppressed emotions so that they're not erupting on your skin. Okay, these are solutions, spiritual solutions for healing the skin. Number 2, you want to address your lack of boundaries if this is an issue for you. Okay, if you know that you have poor boundaries, you have to learn how to advocate for yourself. Okay, remember, your skin is a boundary. It is the boundary between you and the outside world. So the same way that your internal environment is compromised, when that barrier is broken, okay, you're more susceptible to diseases. Anything can infect the body when your skin is broken, right? The same thing is true when your energetic boundaries are compromised, or when you just have very, very poor boundaries. Okay, what it looks like when you have poor boundaries is that you do not advocate for yourself. Okay, you don't stand up for yourself when you need to. You engage in people pleasing. Okay, just saying yes to things that you don't want to do, or that are going to yield a negative result for you just to please other people. Okay, when you do this and when you live your life this way, you are opening yourself up to predatory people. This is making you available for all type of infections. The same way your skin, when it's compromised, opens you up to all type of infections. Poor boundaries opens you up to bullies, energy vampires, manipulative people, and opportunistic people. Okay, So you want to first learn what your boundaries are. It's going to be difficult to communicate boundaries if you don't know what they are. So you need to get clear on what they are. You have to know what your verbal boundaries are, meaning what type of things people can say to you that are acceptable and what type of things are not acceptable. You need to know what your financial boundaries are, what your sexual boundaries are, what your physical boundaries are, how comfortable you are with physical touch, somebody you don't know coming into your physical space or touching your physical items. Okay. You need to know what your emotional boundaries are as well. So you have to know all of these things, get clear on them. Okay. If you have never done exercises like this before, a book that I think will be very helpful to you is a book called The Glow Getter Guide. And it's by a sister here on YouTube, actually, named Belazzi, Bellazzi, Belazzi. It's a great book to help you understand what your boundaries are and how to properly defend them. Okay. How to properly communicate your boundaries. Okay. Another skill, a very, very important skill that you need to learn if you have problems with poor boundaries is assertiveness. Assertiveness. Okay. Assertiveness is going to teach you how to advocate for yourself with confidence and without fear. Okay. The more you practice assertiveness, the better you will get at it, the easier it will be, and the more confident you will feel about yourself. This is going to improve your confidence in so many areas of your life. It's that thing that you didn't know you needed. I promise you. It's that skill that you never knew you needed. It's going to help you in every area, relationships, with romantic relationships, friendships, work relationships. I highly recommend that if you have issues with poor boundaries, that you learn about assertiveness. Okay. A good resource for this is a book called The Assertiveness Workbook by Randy J. Patterson. You can get that on Amazon.com. So both of those books that I mentioned to you, you can get them on Amazon.com. Okay. So that's the solution. Address your lack of energetic boundaries so that you heal the physical boundary of your skin. Okay. Third solution, if you're struggling with self-worth and identity issues, there's a few things that helped me, but I'll tell you the main one. Okay, the main one. In order to have a secure identity, you must know who you are. You must know who you are. Okay. In order to know who you are and to know yourself, you must know your history. You have to know your history. Okay. So this means you need to know your own personal history. So understand your life, the events that have happened to you throughout your life from your own perspective. You also want to know your family history as much as you can find out about your family history. I understand not everybody has access to as much information as they would want to have from their family, but learn as much as you possibly can about your family history. You also want to know your ethnic, cultural, or racial history from your culture's perspective. Okay. And then you want to have a degree of understanding about world history, so you know your place in the world. This is the main reason that I say your healing is in your culture, because I know that the number one thing that helped me to fill in gaps about my own personal identity is learning my cultural history. Okay. And learning it from an African center perspective. This is one of the biggest issues why a lot of Black people have problems with self-esteem, because the things that we are taught about ourselves, number one, we only learn that we were slaves, and a lot of us never do the work of going back to learn our history prior to enslavement. Okay. This is one of the biggest problems that we have with our self-esteem is that we don't know who we are. And then we also don't really know our place in the world. So when you don't know who you are, people can superimpose anything over you and make you believe it. Okay? But when you know, it sounds like nonsense to you. It sounds like gibberish. Nobody can just tell you whatever. You understand? I talked about this in my video, why therapy is not enough for Black people and what's missing. You may want to watch that video, or I'll link it somewhere here in this one. Okay. A lot of us are suffering from identity issues because there's a fragmentation in our history, which also causes us to have fragmentation in our own personal identities and our self-worth. So, for example, if you are a dark-skinned woman or man who has self-worth issues that are related to your complexion, okay, it could be because someone or multiple people early in your life insulted you based on your skin color, and you held on to those insults, right? Remember, I said when you don't know who you are, somebody can just tell you anything and you believe it, right? But when you begin to learn about your ancient cultural story as an African, okay, deep down to deep African spiritual thought, when you begin to know the power and the significance and the function of melanin, what it actually does in the body, not only that, how valuable it is, down to the fact that it's literally worth more than gold. Literally on the black market, it is worth more than gold. Okay? When you begin to know that you are carbon in human form, when you begin to know through history how certain groups of people projected their own insecurities about their lack of melanin onto you through consistent abuse and torture to make you believe that there was something wrong with your skin. And then you internalize those projections, and we started doing it to each other. When you start to go through that whole deprogramming and reprogramming through learning yourself, okay, that is when you will know the truth about who you are. I can tell you every day, all day, that your skin is beautiful if you have an insecurity about your skin color, but you will never truly believe it until you know it for yourself. So when you have issues with self-identity and self-worth, the number one cure for that is to know thyself. Know your history. Your healing is in your culture. Okay? So these are spiritual solutions for healing chronic skin issues. Okay? Number 4 solution for toxic energy buildup. If you are overwhelmed by a toxic environment, you have to begin taking the necessary steps to change that environment or remove yourself from that environment. Okay? If you cannot change the environment that you're in, then you need to change the environment that you're in. Right? So, for example, when I came to the realization that, much of the suffering that I was experiencing in my own nuclear family, I did everything possible to change that environment. Okay. I tried talking to my family. I tried talking to my mother, my sister, my extended family. I tried therapy. I tried healing rituals, prayer. I even tried court. Okay. I tried family meetings, which they were vehemently against. Okay. Because there was not a goal of understanding. I'm the one who wanted to heal things. They wanted to keep it as it was. You understand? So after all of that, trying and trying to change my environment, I decided, okay, well, I need to change my environment. And I removed myself. I removed myself from the situation, moved halfway across the country to get away from those angry birds, and finally had peace. Okay. I had to disengage and go completely no contact. Best decision I ever made. The only thing I wish I had done different was I wish I had done it 10 to 15 years earlier. Okay. So remove yourself from toxic environments if you're having chronic skin issues. If you're in a job that is stressful, you can either quit and find another job, or you can reduce your hours while you work on developing other streams of income until you can quit completely. If it's the career itself that you don't like, change careers. Okay, but you have to release yourself from toxic environments so that your skin can stop breaking out trying to release toxicity. Okay, these are spiritual solutions for healing chronic skin issues. Okay, fear of being seen. Here's the solution. So one of my favorite quotes on this topic is by Kimora Simmons, and she says, if you're shy, get the hell over it. You're slamming the door in your own face. Yeah, that's some tough love right there. Okay. If you are shy, get the hell over it. You are slamming the door in your own face. All right. Now, I think about this quote every time I realize that I'm holding myself back because of my own fears. Again, this is something that I personally have had to overcome because I had severe social anxiety growing up. I was a very, very shy kid. I was so quiet that people thought I was deaf, dumb, and mute. Yes. Okay. There were times that I would speak and people would become spooked. Okay. Like if a ghost talked to them, like, who said that? Okay. People would become shocked because they did not know I could speak. Okay. I remember a time where I was in a group. This was at like a camp or something. And I'm sitting there with the group of kids at a table. We're eating lunch, and everyone is talking. Everyone is speaking and having conversation. And, I'm just sitting there listening like a bump on a log. And then I say, I finally speak. I don't remember what I said, like, can you pass me that or something like that. Everyone was like, they jumped back because I wasn't supposed to speak. They had never heard me speak. So they did not know where that came from. Okay? They didn't know where that came from. They were spooked. So I know this firsthand. So let me tell you what helped me to get over the fear of being seen. The number one thing that helped me was I had a reason. I had a purpose. Okay? I had a purpose. And it was my purpose that motivated me to come out of my shell and come out of the shadows. Okay? So I had to find a way to do things publicly by practicing doing it privately. So I knew that I wanted to help my community heal. I knew that I had certain knowledge on certain things, but nobody would ever know what I know if I never talked about it, if I never found the courage to actually open my mouth and speak so that people know, okay, she knows what she's talking about, or she knows what she's doing. All right. And I did not want my passion, the things that I cared about, to just die within me and shrivel up within me. So I was motivated by a purpose. I knew that I wanted to get on YouTube and talk about things that helped me, things that I've been through, things that helped me so that I can help other people. But when I first started YouTube, I was terrible. Like, my first video was terrible. I remember shooting that video from literally the beginning of the day to the evening. Like, it was sunny, beautiful day, and it was nighttime by the time I was finished. I shot the video over and over and over again, and it was still bad. It was still bad. It was terrible. Okay. So what I tried to do, I tried talking about this topic from the top of my head, but it just did not come out right. Like, everything I said sounded like foolishness. It just sounded like pure nonsense. I was so nervous about speaking in front of other people that I could not get out what I needed to say in a coherent way. So what I did was I practiced privately. I first wrote out a script for whatever I needed to say, and I would practice what I needed to say, and I would still fumble. Okay, this is why when you see some of my older videos, there's a whole lot of editing. It's choppy. There's a lot of edits. Don't go back and look. You don't need to look. Okay, there's a lot of edits in the video because I messed up a whole lot, and y'all might think, oh, she's creative. Look at all these little edits she did. No, boo. It wasn't because I was creative. It was because I was bad. It's because I was really bad. I couldn't speak. I was nervous. And so I had to chop it up. Okay. But after practicing and practicing and practicing, I still use a script. I still use a script a lot of the time, most of the time. But I go off script a lot. And I can go live and just speak straight. I could not do that before. I had to edit my videos before I put them out. Okay, so practice in private first. If you know that you have a fear of being seen, have a purpose for what it is that you need to do, that you want to be seen for, because everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be recognized. Okay. Another thing that I did to help me get over that fear was besides starting where I was and practicing, I also worked through my fears in therapy. So those same therapies, I did cognitive behavioral therapy. Okay. I did EFT sessions, emotional freedom technique, and I also went through Kemetic Reiki. Okay. All of those things, I invested in myself. A lot of people are not going to get over certain things or get to the place that they want because y'all be so cheap with yourself. Stop being cheap. Invest in the things that you want to take care of yourself. It's your life. Okay? Invest in yourself. You are worth it. You are worth it. Stop being cheap with yourself. Okay? Anyway, so overcome your fear of being seen. Okay? Once you become energetically comfortable in your own skin, you will become more physically comfortable in your own skin. These are spiritual solutions for healing chronic skin issues. Okay. Number 6, energetic sensitivity and overwhelm. You want to trust your intuition and act accordingly. If you're a person who is highly sensitive, trust your intuition and act accordingly. When you receive signals that a particular environment is not good for you, that is overwhelming for you, you want to avoid those places. Avoid those places. I know that I personally become overwhelmed in crowds. Okay, it's too much energy for me, so I don't go to crowded places. I don't like crowded spaces. I don't like how it makes me feel. If that's you, if you have a similar personality, you're very highly sensitive, listen to what your body is telling you. Okay. This is another reason that leaving New York really helped me to heal energetically, because those crowded spaces, especially in like Manhattan and certain spaces in Manhattan, like 34th Street, Penn Station, and Times Square, the amount of overwhelm and rush of energy that I would feel in those spaces, it always made me feel so nervous. On top of that, New York is a very hostile place. Okay, the people are hostile, they mean, they mad. Even though people can be very kind to you, New Yorkers can be kind in certain ways. There's a lot of hostility in New York. There's a lot of fights that break out there. Okay, so that's just an example to you. If you're a highly sensitive person and your body is giving intuitive signs that an environment is not good for you or a person is not good for you, avoid it. Avoid it. Listen to your intuition. Be obedient to your intuition. Okay? If your skin reacts to a particular person, don't ignore it. If every time you get around a particular person and your skin is crawling or the hair on your skin is standing up, listen to your intuition. Okay? You're highly sensitive for a reason, so honor that. Honor that. Respect yourself. Okay? When you listen to your intuitive messages, they become stronger. They become clearer. You become more connected to your higher self. Your higher self is never wrong. Your higher self is never wrong. So don't stay in environments and around people that irritate you. One of the ways to get your skin to stop being irritated is to get away from environments that irritate you. Honor your intuition. Okay? These are spiritual solutions for chronic skin issues. Okay? So number 7, ancestral markings. Ancestral markings can represent something that needs to be healed or addressed in the family, or it can remind you of spiritual gifts that you have that connect you to previous ancestors or certain family members. So the best thing to do if you have a genetic skin condition, okay, something that you realize multiple people in the family have, find out as much as you possibly can about your family. So ask the elders in your family, ask other family members who might know about other people who had this skin condition. Ask as many questions as you possibly can to find out about their life, find out about their health, and get clues about why this thing has carried on. Okay? Find out about their lifestyle, about their behavior, about how they ate, the type of foods that they ate, their environment, the things that stressed them out, the traumas, all of those things. Find out as much information as you possibly can about those family members. This way you can begin to make sense of patterns, okay? You can start to recognize patterns that are in your life and begin to see what you may need to eliminate or shift. Okay? Now, aside from skin conditions, if you have markings on your skin, it's not necessarily a skin illness, but it's more of like a genetic mark or a birthmark. Again, it can represent your connection to an ancestor who is watching over you, or one who you have inherited certain gifts from them or certain character traits, good and bad character traits. Okay? So in that case, again, you still want to learn as much as you possibly can about this ancestor, so you know how to develop your own gifts, your own spiritual gifts and talents, and also so that you can work through any negative traits that can be a hindrance to you, that can cause you certain pitfalls that you don't want to succumb to in your life. Okay? So these are spiritual solutions for healing chronic skin issues. If you would like insights on how to energetically heal from skin-related issues or any health problem, you can book a holistic assessment with me at kemeticwellness.com. A holistic assessment is comprehensive, and the purpose is to identify the root cause of disease, whether it's mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual. When we do these, we do a whole lot of different testing, including pH testing of the urine and saliva. We also do a weigh-in. We do a blood pressure interpretation, which goes deeper than just is high or is low. There's a whole lot more information that your blood pressure can give you than just high or low. Okay. We do iridology, which is an eye reading, facial analysis, elemental reading, and nutritional analysis. So this is going to give me a whole lot more information on what is actually causing your issues. This type of assessment goes beyond the surface to get to the root of the health issue so that you can get more effective solutions. From your results, you get a personal wellness blueprint along with my guidance. Yes, this is something that is done virtually, and you can book that with me at kemeticwellness.com. If you just want to read and you want to help yourself, you can get the High Vibration Nutrition book. It comes in the ebook form and in the paperback form. You can also take one of our self-guided courses at kemeticwellness.com/programs. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope that you found this helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.